This morning I would like to read as part of a meditation from Psalms 56 and verse 3. When I'm afraid, I will put my trust in you. Also 1 John chapter 4 verse 18. Perfect love casts out fear. Psalms 34 verse 4. I sought the Lord and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. All of us have different types of fears. Some fear for their life, some for their job, that they may lose their job, some for their safety, some for their health, their money, family, and so on. In Genesis chapter 19, here is a man of God in the senior years of his life, fearing for his life. And when he was faced with such a fear, we see him succumbing to his fear and lying to a pagan king. Now the Spirit of God recorded that life for all of us to read. This is yet again a testimony to the fact that it is indeed inspired by God. The Spirit of God recorded that life for all of us. When we speak to our Muslim friends, many of them maintain that all the prophets of God, once they are called by God, maintained a perfect life. Now this is not what we see in the scriptures. We see them, their failures and faults recorded again and again. For God is true and real, and he would want our lives to be portrayed in this way. He is not hiding our failures and faults, but he is showing his grace and his mercy and his faithfulness to his promises. Now this narrative could have been avoided to portray Abraham in a better light, but Moses, who was writing this, was instructed to include this as well. Now in this chapter, we see different characters. First, we see the pagan king Abimelech. If you read through the narrative, we will see that he was, on the reading, we see him as superior morally to Abraham. This king was, according to the custom of the East, was taken this woman to his harem because Abraham told him that she was his sister. Probably he would have done that to have an alliance with Abraham. We don't know how Abraham could peacefully sleep while his wife is being taken to the palace of a pagan king. He committed the same mistake that he had made in Egypt some 25 years back. The same temptation coming back again. And there again, it was the fear for his life. And here again, the fear for his life. And that was the besetting sin in Abraham's life, that he had to protect his own life no matter what happens. Now this could be our sin as well. When our life is in danger, when we are in fear of losing our job, we throw away our faith. But in this lowest point of Abraham's life, we see the divine hand protecting him. We should understand that God's grace is much bigger than all our mistakes. Here again, we see God intervening on his behalf. It is humbling to know that even in the lowest points of a Christian life, our Lord advocates on behalf of his people. God appears to Abimelech and prevents him from sinning and asks him to go to Abraham so that he could pray for him. Can you imagine an unbeliever to whom you have lied coming to you and asking for your prayers? But even though Abraham had succumbed to his fear here, God still calls him the God of Abraham and not the God of Abimelech. Many times, why do we lie? It's because of fear. Faith and fear cannot coexist. Let us take the example of our Lord asking his disciples to go to the other side of the lake of Gennesaret. We read that in the 4th chapter of the Gospel according to Mark. Our Lord was asleep in his boat, and the boat was ravaged by a big storm that rose in that sea. It was so bad that the disciples feared for their life and woke up the Lord and saying, Lord, aren't you concerned that we are going to die? He woke up, calmed the sea, and said to them, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? When fear came because of the storm, they just had to remember his words. What were his words? Let us go to the other side of the lake. The one who said, let us go to the other side of the lake will take us to the other side, come what may. Even if the boat had to go down to the lake, all of them die, still the words of the Lord holds true. He will take them to the other side of the lake. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass. This is faith. Not because of our ability, but because of his ability and sovereignty over every incident of our life. We should never forget that God is always working in the background for his people, so that all things may come together for good, to fulfill his great plan. Now, who was working behind the scenes here? Someone who is not named here, but we must know and see him here. It is Satan. Satan will try his best to take you away from God's will. He will bring fear. He will bring doubt. And he will bring anxiety. These are three of his powerful weapons against believers. Fear, doubt, and anxiety. In fact, in the New Testament, 3 places we read God calling, the Lord calling his disciples, O ye of little faith. First is in Matthew chapter 6, when he's talking about not to worry. Don't you know what is going on in my creation? If God so clothes the lilies of the field, how much more, O ye of little faith? Why do you worry about what to eat and what to drink? Then again, this place, what we just mentioned. Why did you fear, O ye of little faith? Then in that place where Peter was asked to walk on the water and he doubted and he said, why did you doubt, O ye of little faith? So let us be aware against the wiles of the devil, the schemes of the devil. And these weapons that will come, we have the shield of faith. The promise that was given to Abraham was that next year Sarah will have a baby. This is what true faith should kick in. To hold on to that promise and drive away any fear of death or of the king. But Abraham failed here. On the other hand, when his only servant in that land, the man with whom he had a covenant, failed, we see the faithfulness of God to his covenant. This is yet another reminder that where we fail in our weakness and fear, God is faithful to his promises and covenant. We also see that God never discusses any of Abraham's failures or faults with Abimelech. He just presents him as his prophet. This incident happened just when the promise of God about Isaac had to be fulfilled. It showed Abraham again that if God's promise was to be fulfilled, it would be totally because of God and not at all because of Abraham. God's faithfulness and grace are displayed in full measure here. It is a humbling experience that we need to lean fully on his unfailing mercy and grace. It is for us to remember every day. Today I stand, not because of my strength, because he has helped me to do so. And when I fail, I remember that this is all that I could do as a person. This is the best that my flesh can do. If I do not lean on to the Lord, I will fail again. And in that helpless state, when we throw ourselves at the feet of Jesus and said, Lord, please save me. Just like Peter said, Lord, save me. The Lord extended his hand and lifted him out from the drowning situation, back into the boat, safe and sound, along with Jesus. To be with him, let us lean on to him fully, day in and day out, moment by moment. God bless.